Good morning, pregame crew. How are ya? I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good evening and you're having a good morning. We have a pretty flat morning on ES and NQ. RTY, the Russell's down a little more. Dow is red. We'll go over that in a little bit. We'll officially get started in 6.5 minutes. Between now and then, I'm going to say hello to my friends and do an audio visual check, please. Good morning, Greg. Hey, Daniel. How are ya? Hope everything's well and back to normal after the hurricane last September. Let's see. All right. Buenos dias, Jungle Cat. All right, Hunter, when selling covered calls, do you wait for a point closer to the top of a move after a significant move has taken place? Yes, you want to enter when you think a name is going sideways. When you expect it to go sideways. If you think a name is going up, do not sell covered calls. If you think a name is going down, do not sell covered calls. If you think a name is likely going to go sideways after an extended move up, that's when you sell covered calls. If you think it's going to continue to move up based on technicals, which of course we never know, then you want to just hold on to your commons and just let it go. If it starts to drop precipitously, that is not a reason to sell covered calls. It's that healthy consolidation that you anticipate based on technicals. Let me show you a name right now. DIA. If we look at Dow right now, look at this daily EQ. If you didn't know it was in a daily EQ, and let's say you had covered calls, you had commons, and you see it make a big move up, down, it holds the key EMAs, and before it starts, really going sideways is when you want to sell covered calls. So if you had a name doing this is when you would sell covered calls. As long as it's holding key supports, you stay in the covered calls. If it breaks key supports and it looks like more than healthy consolidation is coming in, then you want to cut bait and say, okay, I'm selling the commons. By the way, I will have a webinar next week. It will be free. And I said next week, I should know that date. Next Wednesday, February 27th. Next Thursday, February 27th, I will be doing a webinar at 5 p.m. Building Positive Trading Habits. Good morning, Jill. How are you? Hey, Tess. Hey, Paula. Visual. Good. I'm glad that makes sense, Hunter. A lot of times we go to sell covered calls and then we see bad news come in, which is a perfect example. If bad news comes in and we have more than healthy consolidation, I wouldn't consider covered calls. That's when I would just sell the commons. Now, I understand we have long-term capital gains, short-term capital gains. We have different considerations, and that changes how we approach things. If you're looking for something to hold weekly supports, let's say you can give it more wiggle room, then yes, sell covered calls. And also, I should mention, you want to sell covered calls on a name where you anticipate sideways action to healthy consolidation. And also, you want to make sure this name has decent volume on options and it has higher than 50% IV, implied volatility. That's when you want to sell options. If it has less than 50% IV, you're not going to really get that premium crush you're looking for. So it's not only from a technical perspective. So you have you want to sell covered calls. You have your technical considerations. And then you have your option considerations. Is this an option I want to sell? Does it have decent volume? Remember, if you're selling, you need to have someone to buy it back. If it's only you on the volume for that day, you've got a problem. My very, very first options trade was EVRI. I had a friend that told me to buy it back here, and it was not insider information. It was back here. It was the Super Bowl. So it would have been right in here it was right at $3 when he told me. And he sold around $13 and he moved companies, but he just told me it was a great company. They run the ATMs at all the casinos. Not only do they do gaming and design games, they actually run the ATMs at casinos, which are the only machine that puts out consistently. The ATM. A delta of 3 to 4, yes, that's a decent range to look for. Delta means for every 30 cents, for every dollar it moves, you'll get 30 cents. If delta is 30, if it's 40, for every dollar it moves, you'll get 40 cents. Hey, Tammy, you're my favorite. We just happen to be favorites. My mom is doing well. For my friends that I haven't caught up with in a while, we'll start in 20 seconds. And I have a new grandbaby, Mr. Noah Keith, and he is absolute perfection, and I'm in love. And yes, I'm way too young to be a grandma, you know. It just happens. All right, y'all ready to get started with the show? Let's get started. Good morning, Ted. How are you? All right. So for today at 7 a.m., we just had the 30-year mortgage rate, which was down. Mortgage applications were down 6% week over week. So we have a lot less mortgages coming through. Building permits, housing starts just came out. And then we have the Red Book in 24 minutes. Most importantly, we have FOMC meeting minutes that come out at 2 p.m. This should be things we already know. There should be no surprises. The market typically takes this as a nothing burger, but you always want to know it's happening and make sure that you're not in large size anywhere. All right. That's my to-do list. Okay. Good morning. This is who I am. I'm Chart Gal Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community and we teach technical analysis. If you want to follow me on X at Chart Gal Lori, that would be lovely. What I do here every Wednesday is we look at the market environment dossier table. This is a table where I look at the most important variables to me. I assigned a weight to them. And of course, this is arbitrary based on my personal trading experience. If it's less than 5, it's not important, so I don't include it. If it's more than 5, then I include it. So overall, we're looking more bullish than bearish. The thing that's standing out is we have a 4-hour diamond on our NASDAQ and on our ES. Dollar is strong. Hang Seng and DAX were red overnight. Healthcare is weak. And we have XLF with a potential daily head and shoulders. We need to watch that. We need semis to come in strong to offset any weakness that could come in with banks. All right. So we have a weekly equilibrium on ES right now. We were unable to get through that 61.62. Nice weekly equilibrium. Higher high, higher low, lower high, higher low, tightening range. Now let's look at the daily. I don't talk about RSI enough. RSI is at 57. We're over 50. So if you would draw a line here, and let's put that right at 50. When RSI is above 50, relative strength index, RSI, that means it's strong. So even if the market were to pull back to, let's say, 60,075, that would still be a daily higher low, and we would be above 50 RSI. If you're ever, this is a nice tip if you're newer to trading, which my God, we could spend all day with tips, because by the way, there's no replacement for hours in the seat or on the walking treadmill. There's no replacement for screen time. There really isn't. But a tip is, if a name is over 50 RSI and you're looking to position long. You're better off positioning long. The probabilities are in your favor that the trend will continue to the long side. NASDAQ, we have a potential daily bull flag. On NASDAQ, we have a weekly higher high. We were unable to get through this 450. We have potential daily bull flag. And we have NVIDIA with earnings next week. NVIDIA is just slightly above what it was when it had earnings last time. So earnings last time, it was at $142. I don't think I said that correctly yesterday on live stream. $142. And right now it's at $139.60. We're right at where we were earnings last time. Does that mean NVIDIA hasn't grown? This is not priced to perfection. So you have names that run into earnings and they are priced to perfection, meaning they're pricing in good earnings and good guidance. We haven't quite done that. We dumped to 113 on DeepSeek and we're just now recovering from that DeepSeek hit. So are we going to have a runaway train here? Maybe. Next Wednesday, did I say Thursday? Next Wednesday is NVIDIA earnings, and this will be the earnings that caps off our earnings season and really sets the tone for NASDAQ for the next couple months, in my opinion. So do you want to be on the wrong side of NVIDIA betting against it when it's at the same price it was for the last... No. Oh, I was looking back here last time. That's why I messed up. I was looking back here. Okay, so for the last earnings, we were at, the close of the day was 146. So we are below where we were at the last earnings. So is NVIDIA priced to perfection? I doubt it. So if they beat and raise more than what's anticipated, this could be the runaway train. Something to keep in mind when looking at NASDAQ. Looking at RTY, look at this beautiful yellow line. This is the simple 50 moving average. Look how it's containing price. We have a daily inside bar underneath this 50 MA. We have enough room for a daily higher low. The Russell needs to get through 2306 and get through this daily 50 MA. Hey, JG. Biotech sector is getting hit because of Kennedy's appointment to healthcare. So biotech has been suffering to a degree, expecting more constraints on profit, if you will. So biotech has been suffering a bit with that appointment. So on Dow, we have a nice daily equilibrium. We have a daily inside bar, plenty of room for a daily higher low. What impacts YM more so than SPY? XLF. XLV and XLI. And XLF has a potential daily head and shoulders to keep in mind. Semis, we're opening red right in the middle of yesterday's range. We have a gap up here at 260.62. I should mention NVIDIA filled its gap. We had a gap up here at 141.88. It has not filled its gap. And Intel has not filled its gap back here of 28.71. Intel has been a runaway train. This could be a back burner trade for today. I actually should add that to my list. I had intended to, and I didn't write it down. All right, so that's kind of the breakdown on semis. Semis, we have a daily higher high. A weekly lower high is possible after that DeepSeek knockdown. However, we're recovering nicely. We have bounced about 65% from the high pre-DeepSeek to the low, and we have a weekly squeeze on semis. Long time no see, good man. Good morning, Brian. Hey, Ed. Yeah, like this. Okay, so VIX, we're looking for a daily lower high. We're looking for a 4-hour lower high. VIX just got an hourly uptrend. But keep in mind, a 4-hour lower high is the more likely scenario. We'll see if we can get through 1603. When I see a key level on VIX, I like to just go set an alert. I want to know if it holds. It helps me a lot with market direction if I know VIX is failing at a key resistance or holding a key support. Hang Seng's red overnight. DAX is getting really red at this point. We're not oversold on the hourly, but on the next bounce, we'll be looking for an hourly lower high. Is that a canary for our market? Possibly. Bitcoin is bouncing. In our room yesterday, I posted we're looking for a weekly higher low, holding the weekly 12 EMA, and we got 4-hour oversold. Bitcoin 4-hour, So that was yesterday in our general chat at 11:51 a.m. Mountain Time. That was right here at the very bottom. I posted that here. So we have bounced $3,000 since that post, and we've made enough room for a 4-hour higher low. Bitcoin bulls, I like to write out, not just for you, but for myself too. What do we need? We need a 4-hour trend change to bulls to know that that weekly higher low is likely set. That's what bulls are waiting for here on Bitcoin. And look at the daily. We have been struggling at that daily 12 EMA since January. So for the whole month of February, we've been under the daily 12 EMA. We need a change in character here. We are not overbought on the hourly. Nice recovery there on the 15-minute. And by the way, Bitcoin has been one of my key factors to watch to get market clues. Yesterday, I posted this in chat. Right here, we had the market, we had Bitcoin recovering nicely and the market wasn't. So Bitcoin was a canary to the downside for the market and was a canary to the upside. So just keep that in mind. Lord, I only have 10 more minutes. I'm just now on Bitcoin. I need to speed it up. Hey, Hector. All right, Ethereum is up. We're still below the daily 12 EMA. On the 4-hour, we got a small higher high. We need the trend changes. We need that trend change on Ethereum. And Litecoin looks beautiful. Litecoin is showing Ethereum and Bitcoin what's what. Look at this daily uptrend on Litecoin. Squeeze firing long. And look at this Litecoin monthly squeeze here. This is beautiful. We just fired long on Litecoin. You could keep Litecoin on back burner watch. The dollar is strong. We're in an hourly uptrend. This still could be a daily bear flag. If we lose our hourly uptrend, then that would likely not confirm, but increase the odds that this is a daily bear flag. Gold has been strong. We're right up here near the all-time high, 29.68. An hourly lower high is the more 30-minute lower high, an hourly lower high is the more likely scenario here. And let's look at GDX while we're on this. GDX is not as strong as gold. We have a daily inside bar. We are rejecting at the hourly 50 MA. If gold were to get that hourly lower high, you could look for a top fish against 41.76. Thank you, JG. Thank you. Back. Oil looks great. How many times have you told me that, how many times have you heard me say that this is my favorite chart? Look at this monthly squeeze, weekly squeeze. And then we had this daily squeeze fire long. So we have API estimates today at 4:30 Eastern. Inventory was moved to tomorrow due to the Monday holiday. A daily lower high is still possible compared to 73.65, bouncing from that daily 200 MA. Hi, my name is Lori and I love oil. Plenty of room for a 4-hour higher low. We are getting a little bit ahead of our skis here. A daily lower high is possible compared to 73.65. And nat gas is being the widowmaker. It is a little bit of a short squeeze at this point. 4456 is your next resistance on the monthly. You could keep this one on back burner watch. All right, so nat gas is at 420. How apropos. Apple, we have a daily inside bar. We're right below this resistance here on the weekly. On a pullback, we're still looking for a weekly higher low and a daily higher low. I'm not an Apple fan up here. Apple has been a great mover, but I'm not an Apple fan up here. I think you could look for a top fish compared to yesterday's high. Nice risk to reward. Amazon, we're clinging on to the daily 50 MA by the hair of our chinny chin chin. We have a daily downtrend. We're looking for a weekly higher low. If you trade Amazon frequently, you probably need to look up when Bezos is allowed to sell shares. I think it's right after earnings, which would be now. So this could be the heaviness that we see. We're getting good spikes on Amazon. They're just not holding. So bears will be looking for an hourly lower high compared to yesterday's high. Nvidia has earnings next week. Daily is in an uptrend. Weekly lower high is the more likely scenario. However, this was brought down by DeepSeek, and then Nvidia came out and shook it off and said it's not that big of a deal for us. So we'll see if it's a big deal. A weekly lower high is possible, but we have earnings next week. So bulls will be looking for a long around 135. That's the daily 50 MA, looking for a daily higher low. Bears could look to top fish yesterday's high on Nvidia. Tesla has a nice 4-hour EQ. We are looking for that monthly higher low. We need a daily uptrend to confirm the monthly higher low is set. We're fighting here at the hourly 50 MAs, 50 MA and EMAs. We need to get over 355. We're in the middle of yesterday's range, 4-hour EQ. It'll be interesting to see if we get another inside bar today. Hems, we're looking for a daily higher low. Hourly is not oversold yet. We have 58.05 and 56.36. I like a long against 56.36, looking for that daily higher low. If that fails, then I'd be waiting for hourly oversold. Microsoft, this is my favorite chart of the morning. Now, we are below 50 on the daily RSI. We're below 50 on the weekly RSI. We're in a weekly downtrend. We are looking for a monthly higher low. I like this squeeze. The question is, will the squeeze fire long or short? So I like it long. If we could get a dip closer to 407, I like it long. If we break 406.50, that is a short signal. Nike had a huge move, almost Maribozu candle yesterday. I like this one for a back burner, looking for the daily higher low. SMCI must report their financials to stay in SEC compliance next Tuesday. They're running out of time. Bears are getting squeezed here. We have a gap up situation. I think a short is coming on SMCI, but if they report and they report great, financials next Tuesday? Do you want to be caught on the wrong side of that? It could be worth a straddle. I'm sure IV is through the roof though. I like this one for a back burner watch. The most conservative play would be waiting for 5 or 15 minute oversold. Hit that like button, please. And TEM, this was a Nancy Pelosi announced name. They have earnings next Monday. Big run into earnings. Their last earnings, they were $45. They've had a double. They're pulling back. I like a top fish against yesterday's high, looking for the 4-hour lower high on TEM. I have talked so much, I've ran out of time to do chart requests. Let me see if I have time to do one. Netflix. Yeah, I like Netflix short. You have an intraday resistance of 1041. I like a top fish of that level. Looking for consolidation. We are looking for a daily high or low. Hourly got oversold yesterday. Let's see if yesterday's low holds. On a bounce, I would like it short. On a pullback, I like a long attempt against 1024. All right, hit that like button. And by the way, in the YouTube description below, we have an Options 101 handbook that's free. And we'll have the webinar next week. I hope to see you there. We'll get some information out on that. Thank you for being here and use stop losses.